Welcome back everyone to another YouTube video. And if you guys have been following along from the last video that I previously posted, you guys should have seen that I took a couple steps forward. Now, it's almost like I took a couple steps forward. I took about 5 steps forward, but I took about 2 or 3 steps backwards. So still up on the account, over 160, but and there's we have a bump in the road. I'll show you guys an update, live update. I'll give you guys a breakdown on what I expect to happen, or I anticipate to happen a little later on the in this week, during this week. Of course, I'm gonna give you guys a quote, and today's quote is gonna be in the Trading in the Zone book by Mark Douglas. He says, probably one of the hardest concepts for traders to effectively assimilate is that the market doesn't care or doesn't create your attitude or state of mind. It simply acts as a mirror reflecting what's inside back to you. Let me know, drop down below what you guys think about that quote by Mark Douglas, Trading in the Zone. So what I can tell you about my thoughts on that quote is if you're feeling I think your feelings can be shown, your negative feelings can be shown in the way you trade. It can be if reflected on your profit and loss statement. So if you're having a bad day or you took maybe a loss, you might want a revenge trade, you feel negative about yourself, it might you might take it as an encouragement to start over trading, um, or even over leveraging. That's something that I'm still working on. It's not as bad as it was before, but at least the start is noticing it and then taking accountability, taking action right after, you take accountability and noticing that you are over leveraging, you are over trading or over leveraging or both. Um, and you have to also accept that losses come with the opportunity. Losses come with being a trader. You're not always gonna be right. The market is always right, and you're either right or wrong. So that's another reason why I think this industry, like the trading communities, um, I think it's a good fit for me just because, and I'm sure if you're a trader yourself, you can agree with this because we all want to hold ourselves accountable. We all want to be our own accountability partner. We all want to have enough discipline to become successful. So the market doesn't have, even though the market could be 50 to 60% fractal, um, the moves that have potential doesn't mean that it's 100% going to go in the direction that you anticipate, although it is somewhat fractal, for the most part, more than 50% fractal. Um, Especially on higher time frames. So I think that quote, I definitely resonate with that quote, and you'll also see when I share my profit and loss statement. So far, it's Monday, June 30th. So far you can kind of see based on my profit and loss statement why I'm even presenting this quote to you guys is because I can kind of relate to that this week. In the week already, the week just started, so I'm already kind of seeing where I'm going wrong. Um, so yeah, what I what I would say is let me actually share my screen. Um, Probably just do TradeZella. I'll just get right into TradeZella. So here's TradeZella. You guys should be able to see my profit and loss statement. You can see -$3. Mm, I guess -364 probably counted from this short. This was probably held into 12 a.m. following day. I think that showed up here, 1228. Yeah, the 1228 right here it showed up on the following day here because it was my stop loss was hit. I imagine my stop loss was hit. But yeah, you can see that. Mm, so I'm still having these moments where I might hop in a trade and hop out by just because, but it's still helpful if you hop into a trade and then you see that it's not something or not maybe a price point that you want to buy or sell at. Maybe you want it to push a little higher or push a little lower to get a better entry. So I see that those are some things that some of the reasons why you might see a couple more trades that I anticipate on having and not I don't think that's a terrible thing. So I don't think that's a terrible thing too because there could be moments also that you'll see on my trading report where I cut my losses short. If I see something and I think it's a great setup, I feel like it might be an A plus setup, but then it turns out to be like a C minus setup. Like let's say for example, I'm looking to risk a 1 to 3, and then I get in around 1 to 2, expecting for price to get to this point, but then my bias changes for whatever reason, and instead of going for a 1 to 3, the chart actually shows in my mind, it might instead of going to 1 to 3 profit, it might go to a 1 to 2 for whatever reason. So like sometimes I'll have situations like that. So I'll enter a trade, then exit the trade, cut my losses short just because I don't want to go against my my trading plan, and I want to go for a minimum of 1 to 3 instead of a 1 to 2. Just because my edge is, my edge lies in that kind of realm of a 1 to 3 and up. So, especially since I'm on the higher time frames. So yeah, this is how my week is going. It's not good. Obviously, it's not good. But here's my trading view. So I'm actively in a US 30 sell. So I hourly had shifted to bearish. So since we shifted from um bullish to bearish, this would be this would be the last sell and then pullback. So once it comes into the 50%, you find, imbalance. So I found an imbalance. There's an imbalance right here on the 5 minute time frame. I enter it around this area, and with me entering in this area, that allows me to keep my stop loss right above the hourly high. This happened around, I mean, I would say London session, but London's high is right here. So there's a possibility that London's high might get wiped out and then price could stop right here and then short and then, you know, take a take a tank. Um, let's look at the daily time frame. So daily time frame, we can clearly see that we're bullish, but this is an opportunity of price coming from external to internal. I'm not sure if you guys have seen my previous video where I shared with you guys the difference between external and internal, but I'll show you guys again for those of you who are new. And if you're new, just like, comment, subscribe so that you guys can get updated to everything that, you know, daily info or weekly info. I should be, posting daily, but sometimes there's not really even any moves for me to talk about, but I guess basic stuff is also something I can chat about. But all right, so if you guys were to guess, what do you think is internal to external? This one or this one? You got 5 seconds. Yeah, I did that wrong. So honestly, It's the same thing, all right? It looks the same. Boom. Now you got that. All right. So what we have here is the inverse. I'm just showing you guys downtrend for what I should be showing you guys is the uptrend. So I'll just change it. All right. So we've got an uptrend, right? If we got an uptrend, if we got market creating an uptrend, let's say this is a daily time frame. All right. Now, if you are on the daily time frame, you're gonna want to enter here, right? You enter here, you enter here. Oh, created a whole Z. Still getting used to this. All right. So obviously on a daily time frame, let's say you're trading these setups and you're looking for buys because the daily's bullish, you're gonna want to go here. Target could be wherever, maybe targeting, here, and or you hold it, until it does a break of structure, maybe on the 1 hour time frame, and so that you know when to get out. Next, you go for another, since a pullback, if you get a market structure shift on the 1 hour, shifts again. Let's say you have a reason to target up here. Now, what happens is, let's say we take the same daily chart. So this is the same daily chart, the same daily pullback, the same daily key levels. Now price gets to this point around 38,000. So what I've done is I've waited for price to pull back. And once price pulls back, I'm looking for a short. And when I'm looking for a short from the daily level, I'm looking for a short above these highs on the lower time frame. Now looking at a target. So target could either be, obviously you don't really want, I mean, if it's a 1 to 3, then you could accept, you know, targeting this low right here as a 1 to 3, pulls back. But let's say if you wanted, let's say you want to take out this leg right here. As long as, however, this is the small time frame. This is the higher time frame. So I don't know if you guys can understand that, but there's different ways you can look for TPs. I mean, my TP is usually 50% of the move. But if you're, let's say you see a lot of imbalance right here, this is where how I traded USD CAD last week. I traded into an imbalance and it was on the daily level. So I'll show you guys what I did last week. It was on USD CAD. So USD CAD, you can see my sell was, yeah, so I sold around here. When I sold around here, my stop loss was right there. And then I had to take profit into the imbalance here. So you can see that there were imbalances right here, right? That could have been a good place to, um, take profit. Lower probability would have been here. So that's why I just went for the first probability. So, because first probability is, way stronger. So this would be TP1. This would, could be TP2, but I just don't usually recommend, especially if you're trading against the trend. I just don't really go for the TP2s, unless, we're trading with the trend. Right now, we're trading against the daily trend, or we were trading against the daily trend because I'm no longer in any USD CAD trades. What I would suggest though is if we go down to a smaller time frame and we get, all right, since we're selling, I'm we're most likely, and as you can see, this trade hit, but once price got into my take profit level, if I had if I wanted to continue selling until TP2, my second take profit level, instead of holding for my first take profit level, let's say if I wanted to be greedy, and I mean, I could have taken partials, right? 50%, 75%, 80%. Could have taken partials. I can agree with that. But let's say if I was, feeling like, I want more if I wanted to be greedy and stuff like that, and I just said I'm gonna disregard TP1, although we came here. I want to go for TP2. As you can see, once price shot down, hit my first take profit target, price did a reversal and just started creating, you know, higher highs until price took out this right here. Because for whatever reason, I mean, there is some imbalance above there, that high right there, but this was my stop loss. So if this was my stop loss, I stayed in the trade and I wanted to wait until price at my TP2, my take profit, my second take profit price point, then I would have got stopped out and I would have taken L on the trade. So you have to know your trades. You have to know your setups. You have to know where price is most likely to trade into. You can't be greedy. There's so many different things that you have to mentally, you have to mentally, uh, I don't know, maybe callous your mind or mentally frame your setups, mentally control your emotions during the trade. I mean, I'm taking these swing trades, so I really don't even care how long they take. I just want them to either take profit, and if I'm wrong, hit the stop loss. I really don't care anymore. I'm more so just risk managing way better than I was before. So I think that I'm doing really good on that part. I could be doing better, obviously, which is why I'm also journaling. And I think journaling, honestly, there's so many pros in journaling. There's hardly any cons when it comes to journaling. Aside from like maybe a monthly fee, it might cost me like maybe $25 a month to journal, but I think it's worth it just because of how much better I'm getting. Like you can even see the equity curve. I used to lose a lot of money. I mean, $48 and stuff like that. I mean, some of these days you can see is like over $100, close to 200, right? You could see some of these days are over 200. So I'm losing a lot less. I'm being more mindful of the trades that I'm entering. I'm being more mindful of my risk to reward, which is, literally the secret in this trading industry is risk to reward. That's how a lot of these top traders are successful is by having proper risk management. That's the biggest part because they always also say, doesn't matter if they teach you their strategy. If you don't have the right risk management, you're gonna end up blowing the account over and over and over and over and over again. So I think risk management, I started looking at it in a different lens, and you can see the shift clear as day. Like if I refresh my screen, you can see clear as day that my risk management has took almost a 180. You can see just like, fewer outbursts of, these type of losing trading, losing days. Um, but yeah, I would definitely, I just highly recommend, uh, what do you call it? I highly suggest journaling because it's extremely helpful. But yeah, I am in this CAD JPY sell. And the reason I'm in this CAD JPY sell is, I mean, we are going against the daily bias, but because the 4 hour is still bearish, and not only that, typically when we're below this, key point, we're going to be looking for sells. And since we're also bearish on the 4 hour time frame, and that's the daily key areas of interest, right? This is daily key areas of interest. Right now we're under that key level. So since we're under that key level and we're also bearish, and this is the most recent 4 hour low that hasn't been swept yet, we've came back into this area of interest, this key area of interest, key level on 1 hour, maybe even 2 hour. Like we even came into like it's a 2 hour area of interest as well that shifted from being bullish to going, bearish. So that's why I anticipate this move to happen. It gives us almost a 1 to 4, which will replenish the losses that I've taken already for the week. The losses that I've taken for this week were mainly in gold, and that was like a 1 to 11. So I mean, it was worth the loss that I took. I didn't want to take the loss. Obviously, nobody wants to take a loss, but it was worth it. So I'm not mad. I'm not upset that I took losses on the gold because I could have doubled the account with the same type of risk that I'm risking on these. It's just that it had more, like, just look at it. I took an L right here. Um so I'm fully transparent. You can even see in the Discord where I brought up that I was entering this sell. It was a 1 to 9. It wasn't a 1 to 11. Either way though, it still would have gave a good, you know, risk to reward, a reasonable risk to reward. So yeah, but yeah, I mean, I took a sell here, and then I believe I might have wanted to go in for a buy. I can't remember. So I mean, maybe if we look at my track record, yeah, we can see, okay. And then I thought about longing for sure. I like entered and then I was like, nah, let me get out because I don't want to go against my trading plan. I was so close to risking another 5%, which would have been about $10. So I'm glad I stopped out. So n normally what you want to do to help yourself, help your account's equity, um, rather than, seeing it diminish when hopping into trades that you are kind of shaky about is pretty similar to what I said, earlier, which is um cutting your losses short. So you have to be thinking almost you want to think almost in three different dimensions. So three different dimensions would pretty much be, past, present, and future. So if you think of yourself in as past, present, future self, and you're like, okay, past me, so past Anthony would say, hey, we're gonna look at, whatever has happened in the past, you don't want it to happen again, right? So if you notice you're taking prices from external to internal and you see a higher probability of your trade setups happening from internal to external rather than external to internal, but you see an external to internal setup, maybe you might want to sit out on the external to internal setup because you've already took a couple L's, right, for the week. You want a higher probability so that you can regain your losses and replenish the losses you've already took for the week. So just thinking of your future, your past self, right? In the past, your past. Now, presently, you want to be in the moment and you reflect on pretty much what I just said, which is you've took L's for the week. You want to make up for that, and nothing else matters except for what we're looking at right now and the risk management that we're going to operate on right at this moment. And if you don't see any setups, then wait. Now, when you're waiting, you can think about your future self. Your future self is going to be proud of Anthony if once you wait and your future self says, hey, once price reaches to this point of interest or area of interest and it's a plus setup, but you had to wait 2 days for it. Maybe you had to wait Right now it's Monday. You have to wait until Wednesday or Thursday. Your future self, you know that your future self is going to be proud of you for waiting until that key level has been hit so that you know, hey, it's okay to jump into this trade. And I'm most likely, since it's an A plus setup, I have a high probability setup and so forth. So those are three different ways that you can start looking at trading: past, present, and future. So past self, present self, future self. Um, that's been a change for me. Um, so yeah, I am looking at, price to come into this area, and I want to see something around 30, 15-minute time frame. Once we get a market structure shift around that point, then we can start looking, or I'm going to start looking for shorts. I do anticipate some type of, shift on the 15-minute time frame somewhere in this area, but I mean, we've already took out 50% of my area of interest, so I would say if we're gonna get, let's say the daily time frame. So yeah, I mean, daily time frame for an area of interest here, you can obviously see why I had, you know, I would probably say this would be this, yeah. I mean, it's still a big area of interest, but I'm gonna make sure that I get an alert once price hits this area of interest, and then we can just go with daily area of interest. It's not really a solid area of interest, but it's still a good price point where price should probably go sometime this week. Like it's Sunday and price is not far at all from that, area. Not far at all. Not far at all. So yeah, that's one of my trade ideas for this week. Obviously, my stop loss is not like this is not at all how things work. I have to wait until price gets to that area. Show me whether it makes sense to enter or not, and then you know, I'll go from there. And I'll also release in the Discord. So join the Discord, see if you can get accepted into the community, and um, in the meantime, just like, comment, subscribe while um, I go through this journey. I'm gonna, once I'm probably gonna start working on things like videos, certain videos and stuff like that, and then I'll keep you posted. I'll keep you guys posted on when I'm gonna release certain videos. And yeah, I mean, there's definitely I can see a lot of progress, but it's micro. It's micro, and in the future it's gonna be macro. Micro progress, but in the future you're gonna see macro results. Day by day, it's just, these little improvements that we have to tweak and stuff like that. Um, it's all the stuff, the little stuff that nobody sees. But, eventually this stuff will, everything will add up. NASDAQ shifted as well. NASDAQ is still bullish. Unfortunately, guys, NASDAQ is still bullish on the 1 hour time frame. I don't even think I'm gonna trade this honestly this week. I'm just gonna remove this. I'm gonna remove this as well. And then hmm, actually, let me see the 4 hour. I would actually wait until price gets around here to see what I want to do. Maybe I might want to long, right? Oh man. I might want to long once price gets here. Yeah, but I mean, this is what we're looking at for the week, right? Oh, US 30. I'm looking for price just because this is liquidity. This is, I mean, yeah, we know there's liquidity everywhere, but below this low right here is area of interest. This is TP1. TP1, right? So yeah, that's TP1, but I did extend it just because if we look at the 1 hour time frame, there's more imbalance below. So with there being more imbalance below, that could indicate more of a reason why price should go further than this area right here. So yeah, that's why I've put my price point at that area. And right now I'm in a sell. Again, I'm in a sell on US 30 and it's like a 1 to 11. Yeah, it's a 1 to 11. So far that's what we're looking at. And what are we looking at here? So, okay, so this is AUD NCD. I was looking for sells, but it doesn't look like that's happening. USD JPY, not hopping in that. Probably just cancel it, but things happen, so we'll just leave it. And we've got GBP NZD. So if we're looking at GBP NZD on the daily time frame, it seems like GBP NZD is, I would say, I would say, let's see. So we've got, I don't know why price, I mean, like it's not letting me. Okay, boom, 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 boom. So technically we're bearish on the daily time frame overall, like in a nutshell. But if we look at the 4 hour and we delete that, because we can still trade, do swing trades from the 4 hour time frame. Like when in doubt, 4 hours, you know? When in doubt, 4 hour time frame. That's kind of like the motto that I use at this point. You know what? This might be the last 4 hour shift that happens. Mm, low key, this might be the last 4 hour time frame shift that we get. Because prices already came in like into that area. So if we get a closure below this low, we might get a, pullback. Maybe a pullback like right here. And we start selling, but I don't know, I just don't really trust this. Too much consolidation. I'm just gonna keep this red. I thought it was green for a second. Let's see. Daily's for sure overall bullish, but the 4 hour time frame is indicating it's already did gave 15 minute. I mean, all right. Yeah, I would keep that as red because I'm not gonna trade that at all. We've got NZD USD is, I mean, a price. I mean, yeah, it's for sure bullish, but let's take a look at this. Hmm, 4 hour time frame. Yeah, I'm gonna keep this stuff like this. What is this? GBP JPY. This is interesting. What time did this happen? This happened around New York. Price came. So I would definitely, but the thing is, I'm in a CAD JPY, so there's a possibility that JPY, I'm not gonna be biased. Like I really just trade what I see. I wish I could have seen this because I definitely would have taken that. For sure, I would have taken that. But I mean, if I did take this, the risk to reward makes sense, but I am late on the trade. Technically, this goes against my trading plan. It's a 1 to 3, but my stop loss would have to be here. Yeah, I'm not gonna do it. I've already took enough losses. I've already took enough losses. Well, I mean, CAD JPY is playing out, so if CAD JPY actually plays out, then I make back all the money that I lost this week, which is great. That is great. I do think that this is gonna play out though. Just don't take 1 to 1s. 1 to 1s are not worth a trade for me because I'm not just looking to scout. Um, this is Euro JPY. If we could get a pullback, that would be fantastic. I put an alert there. It's still gonna be red just because I don't really believe in it. If price comes into that area, I'll put more belief and thought into it. And then think about it. This is actually not bad because when it's time for that pullback, this is kind of sketch. Daily time frame. I mean, now, price is definitely for sure gonna close bearish on the daily time frame. You don't see how this is dropping? Hmm. Where can I say 4 hour has? There we go. Daily area of interest. Pick. We're for sure looking at this right here, without a doubt. I'm up $5 on CAD JPY, and I'm negative 20 cents on US 30. I can anticipate this happening though, especially if you can see that this is the high of Monday. So this is Monday's high. Monday's high is right around the area of interest on the daily time frame. We can most likely expect that the Monday's high could get wiped out, including Sunday's high, get wiped out. Who knows, right? We just have to wait and see what happens. There's also imbalance in this area. We just have to wait because price could still continue dumping all at once and not come back. AUD CAD, choppy as it's choppy, like actually choppy. I think daily candle might end up closing bullish. Right now we're bearish. Don't like AUD CAD because it's a lot of consolidation. Then we've got the daily time frame on USD CHF. So this is similar to GBP CHF. There's really nothing to the barely anything to the left. 2011, this is crazy. We're at a point around 2011 where price hasn't came back to this area since 2011. So that's it's actually wild. Um, all right, so we've got daily's highs right here. If that's the daily high, what's the 4 hours high? Boom. So should have entered that, but I didn't. I'm gonna delete this. USD CAD. Okay, so yeah, I'm glad you guys were able to witness my trade that I took here. That was a 1 to 3. Honestly, it might have been 1 to 2 now that I think about it. Man, but it still hit take profit, so um yeah, we're waiting for take profit 2 to get hit so that there's a possibility the 4 hour won't shift back to bullish. That's what I'm waiting for. I'm actually waiting for the 4 hour to shift back. Right now it's bearish. Oil. I do want oil to push up into this area. See if that happens. Euro, AUD. Daily time frame. So we've got daily time frame from here to here. What about the 4 hour time frame? What about the 4 hour time frame? We're going bullish. This makes no sense to even look at. We're right. This is to be determined. To be determined. TBD. Everything else, USD JPY looks cooked. Euro USD. Did I already look at this? Looks like nothing's like we're not getting anything this week. Making this red. Take this. Delete. All right, so at the top, we've got. I'm still waiting for this GBP USD trade to activate. I don't have an order pending, but I do anticipate on selling this to either, depending on if the 15-minute time frame shifts around here or 30-minute time frame shifts around here. I'll hold it all the way until, if it doesn't shift here, I'll hold it until this area of interest. In fact, I might even, hmm, yeah, I think, or I might even hold it until the 50% of the daily, because I am thinking I should be dropping here shortly, but there is some imbalance, right? There's some 5 minute imbalance that should get filled. Maybe around 3 o'clock, 2 to 3 o'clock. Currently up in total about $7, and that's in between CAD JPY and US 30. So I'm going for sales on both US 30 and CAD JPY. Again, I've already shared this info with as soon as I, get into a trade, stop loss, take profit on in the Discord. And yeah, do what you want with that information. Like, comment, subscribe, comment below. Let me know what you guys want to know more about in the next video. And also share your ideas about the quote that I, read to you guys. I shared to you guys about Mark Douglas or by Mark Douglas, trading in the zone. Hope you guys enjoyed this video and good luck this trading week. It's not much if you're trading FX, it's not much going on in the markets, but um I'm like my eyes are peeled. My eyes are literally peeled. So good luck and I will see you guys in the next video.